How's it going, Habibis? As you guys can see, there's nothing here. And that's because we are hopefully moving to a bigger and better setup in the new house in the future. Time will tell when that is, probably about 2 months if I had to guess. So until then, enjoy the blandness. Now, with that said, guys, it was announced that they are going to be taking out the Dark Magician structure deck in Master Duel, which can only imply that there's a strong possibility that they are going to be introducing the new support on Thursday, February 5th. Now, I know it's going to be Dark Magician Central on this page when that happens. So until then, maybe about a week before then, I want to be uploading decks that I've posted on this channel in the past. So I'm talking Thunder Dragon, I'm talking Heroes, and I am talking, of course, Dinos. I want to make sure that I address those decks, with the new year. Obviously, Heroes is getting a lot of support, but I want to make sure that we talk about it because I don't think we're gonna once this new DM support drops. It's gonna be DM, DM, DM. Now, one of the most impressive things that has happened with Dinos recently is we have a Dino deck list that reached the top 16 of the Meta Weekly. Let's pull it up right here. Okay, so big shout out to Sun Apollo. Very impressed with this list. I actually really like the concept, and I'm kind of jealous that I didn't think of this myself because this is a really solid idea. One of the biggest downsides to playing Dinos is the lack of recursion, right? Let's say you pop off with Dinos, you set up a big board, but your opponent somehow, some way, they super poly you, they dark ruler you, whatever, and you have to play a turn 3, right? Dinos typically don't have follow-up. However, with the Primite engine, it gives us a natural follow-up because recursion is very easy with Primite. And obviously, because we are playing the necessary vanilla and Frostosaurus, it is a good idea to play the Primite engine. And I also really appreciate Sun Apollo's ratios here. He's playing 1 Ether Barrel because you already have your main normal summon in Ovi. There are times where it conflicts, so it's best to play Barrel at 1 and Lordly Load at 3 with 1 Drill Beam. I really like this. Something else I want to point out about this list that I'm really enjoying and respecting is the simplicity of it with just the Dirac Megalo. There are times where you just have Misk. You don't have your 2-card combo. But essentially, you could, if you open Ovi or Misk individually, you could essentially get to Misk and then summon Dirac Megalo with Misk's second effect, and then it gets popped at the end phase, and you get to set up a free board wipe. And I'm telling you, these board wipes can literally buy you a turn that gets you to your next combo and wins you the game. So being able to set up a board wipe with the Astero effect in the grave, going into Meteor, is huge. Very big brain ideas here with the Primite as well as with this. Big shout out to Sun Apollo. Again, this is their top 16 list, which they got, which is really, really impressive, I must say. And then later on, they actually updated it, which is interesting because before I saw this, I kind of wanted to try the deck out myself, but I made some changes to it. And mine looks more similar to this. I'll show you guys mine at the end of the video. But like I said, had really good time with it. Thought it was very, very powerful. Good, smart way to play Dinos. This is probably the way I'm going to be playing it going forward until further notice. Now, let's go into some replays so I could show you guys what this deck list can really do. All right, guys. So I was thinking about saving this duel for last, but I figured let's start off with an absolute classic Dino DNA comeback versus this Orcust Fiendsmith player, okay? So looking at this hand, you might think this is a wrap. There's no shot that we could come out on top with this hand. And typically you'd be right because it's kind of a bit scuffed. So we're going to imperm the Fiendsmith sequence here, right? And then they're going to finally go into their actual main engine, Orcust. Don't you just love that they could bait out negates and disruptions and then actually start playing once they burn through all your hand traps? Love that. But anyways, you might look at this hand and be like, wow, this is not that great of a hand. We do have Load and Drill Beam, which is good going second. And you also have Pankratops, which I always consider a board breaker going second card. The opponent here sets up Crescendo, which is an Omni Negate. And we also have Ground Xeno. So I spoke about it earlier a little bit with Megalo's effect, being able to pop itself with Misk and set up the Estero into Dirac Meteor. My opponent Max sees me. You could also do that with Ground Xeno. All right, so we are going to get rid of, using the Drill Beam, the Orchestrated Babble. That's their most important card of the field spell. They're going to use their Crescendo, which is fine. So now we baited out their Omni Negate, no big deal. We're going to let them play some more because it's not really my turn, it's our turn. As my opponent did Max see me, remember that. But the good news is we got through the Omni Negate. We know exactly what they have. They're going to summon this, which is a monster effect from the extra deck Negate. And we're going to just start making some plays here. So we're going to go Pankratops, okay? And this Pankratops is going to be used to pop the field spell. That's going to force them to use their Big Boss Monster's effect now prematurely. So he won't be able to take anything off my field. And he is going to be able to protect it with the Dingirsu. Now we're going to go Ovi. And I'm going to use the Ground Xeno in my hand. Now, as I stated earlier, as my opponent does chain the Harporer, you could pop Megalo to set up the board breaker, but in this situation, we are trying to basically OTK my opponent because we're under max C, so we kind of have to, right? So we're gonna do our Dino combo. We summon out a baby, summon out Dino Meteors, pop the baby, get the baby in the graveyard, always making sure that you choose the baby that is on the left, not the right when it shows up, because the one on the right is the one that got popped first, and then you won't be able to activate the effect. Anyways, we're going to go into Dolka, and I'm going to go into Dolka here a little prematurely, just to make sure that I don't have to worry about this guy, don't have to worry about Nibiru's or anything like that on my non-dinos. But we get the big boy UCT out, and he's going to clean up this mess, do some damage here, and despite Max C, despite them setting up an optimal Orcust Fiendsmith field, we still cook this man into oblivion. He's gonna futilely. He's gonna try to activate these effects, and it's not gonna work because we're gonna negate his entire existence and end this duel with some Dino domination. I love when all the cards explode. It's great. Anyways, great duel, great comeback. This deck's got a lot of potential. Let's go to another replay. All right, so here we're going first. And we have a bit of an awkward hand. So kind of like what I talked about earlier, what we're going to do here is we're going to go Misk. And it's going to get met with Max C. That's okay. Even though I could stop it, I'm fine with not. Because I'm going to be able to set up a board wipe here. Because the Megalo gets popped at the end phase due to Misk's effect. And now I'm able to save my Ash for more important things, like negating Mitsurugi Prayers. Okay? So we have Imperm, we have a board wipe, we just Ash them, we're going to Imperm to Saji. I think that's a good Imperm. And they're going to go into Almirage here, and that's going to allow them to start making their yummy plays. So yes, we are in a yummy meta. I'm going to choose to use the board wipe here to try to hinder them, to stop them from going into their synchro, to stop them from using the field spell. Just get it off the field. Field spell is important to them. So I'm going to summon my Xeno Meteors, because at this point I'm just trying to stay alive. Need to make sure that I'm able to not take too much damage here. But unfortunately they are able to combo. So they're going to summon their Marshmallow Yummy, add back the field spell, activate the field spell, go into their Shamisen Samsara Sorrow Cat, and that's it. So that board wipe did kind of slow them down, which is very good. And we're going to be able to set up another one here because of this Ground Xeno. So here you're going to see the true genius of this deck as my opponent imperms the Xeno Meteors. But the true genius of this deck is just how consistent it is at setting up board wipes and using these board wipes to keep the opponent at bay. Not many decks can survive multiple board wipes because they don't have the recursion to reamass the cards that they end up losing from this. So we pop the field, and then we get to summon Dino Meteors right back. And that ends their turn. So we draw into another ground Xeno. We're going to use Dino Meteors. They're going to negate it. I'm going to swing here and end my turn. So I do think at this point, I took out the third Jirac Magalo. I was playing with 2 to 3. I kept changing it. But yeah, we were able to just keep using those board wipes to survive long enough. And the opponent scoop there, we were going to be able to go full combo when we pop this Pankratops. So GG's, let's try another one. Going up against Kane here, and once again, a very awkward hand. Don't know why I stuck with this one, but I'm glad I did. So they're going to Femina here, going to Ulamel, which is really interesting. Grab their Rahu Dracotail. Rahu Dracotail is going to allow them to go into Arthalion. And luckily I have this Imperm, which makes them take a -2. Well, I guess not take a -2, but they don't get to add back 2 cards, which is pretty dang good. They're going to add back the Femina. They have Flame set. They're going to activate Bestial Magnuma, banishing the Quem to summon Magnuma and adding Urgula to their hand. So we need something good here. We draw Pankratops again. So let's see what Pankratops can do. Let's see if he can keep anything in check here. They're going to activate Femina. I'm going to wait for them to chain the Gulamel. It's very important that I waited for them to chain here. So now I know I don't have to pop Gulamel because he already used his effect. So we're going to get rid of the Flame, which is good. Don't want them to get an extra draw. They go into Arthalion. They're going to add back the Ghost Spell, or else they won't have any disruptions. And they set 1. So look at this. This is really interesting. We have double Magalo in hand. We're going to summon the Petit Pterodon. Use Magalo's first effect, that if you have a Dino, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then we're going to get rid of 2 cards here and draw 2. We draw into Fossil Dig. Big draw. We go Miscellaneousaurus. Miscellaneousaurus is going to protect our dinos, but also he's going to allow us to summon out our Arch. Arch is going to pop the Petit Pterodon. Petit's going to summon Ovi. Ovi's going to grab Dino Meteorus. Go Link Karibo. Go into Secure Gardener so that we have the non-dino in the graveyard. Pop the Jirac Magalo. They're going to activate Ghost Spell. And unfortunately for Kane, they did not read what Miscellaneousaurus does. Magalo is going to allow us to set up our board wipe for next turn. Dino Meteorus is going to summon. Pop of the Petit Pterodon, summon out Frostosaurus. Petit Pterodon is going to summon out Misk. We're going to go Dolka. We're going to go Lars. And of course, we're going to go the big bad boy, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. And, you know, attack, attack, attack. That's what UCT does. Leaving the opponent with absolutely nothing but a Sting and a Dream and 200 life points. GL, HF. Hit him with Max Seed just for fun. I'm going to negate that because I don't want them to even draw a card. I don't want them to even think they have a chance at victory here. I'll let them add Femina because can't do anything. I'm going to use Dolka's effect to pop the Malulu. And that is officially GG. So now they're going second win. Let's go into another one. Alrighty. So good going first hand, but unfortunately, we didn't win the coin flip. We weren't good enough, and we're going up against Odion. So our opponent here is going to set up the typical, you know, 2 Omni Negates with the Apopus of the Swamp Deity. And then they're also going to set up the pop here with the fusion. Whenever a trap is activated, they can pop a card on the field. And basically, this pretty much hinders on resolving Misk. So we're going to activate Misk. They're going to activate their Apopus of the Serpent, setting a deity. And we're going to activate Fossil Dig. I'm trying to bait out any ashes, because I know if I activate Called by on Ash, it would be negated because of their Swamp Deity. So I'm assuming they don't have Ash. I'm hoping they don't. Luckily, they don't. They're going to activate their Apopus of the Swamp Deity. Another opponent doesn't read Miscellaneousaurus. It is unaffected. They use their Divine Serpent Apopus. That's fine if they want to waste their negates. I'm cool with that. Once again, unaffected. And we are going to now go into our Dino combo. So if you guys don't know the Dino combos, I kind of assumed you did. I do have a video on my channel where I go over every single dino combo that you need to play this deck like a true Dino DNA enthusiast, okay? I'll link it above right here for you guys. Very helpful, but we're gonna use UCT's effect, flip everything face down. That puts the cards in the back row, the traps that is in the back row. And then now that they're in the back row, they do have the ability to activate a card that turned into a set because of Temple of the Kings. They're gonna try to activate their Swamp Deity. I'm gonna negate it. It does stay in the backfield, back row, so it's kind of stuck. I'm gonna negate their other deity that they had set already. And you know how it is. Attack, attack, attack with UCT. Gosh, I don't get sick of this. UCT, the best in-deck boss monster. Change my mind in the comments. What in-deck boss monster, in main deck boss monster is better than Ultimate Conductor Tyranno? I really want to know what you guys think. Anyway, let's go over one more replay. This is a really good one. All right, I'm gonna try to go over this one really quickly. But before I start talking about it, guys, if you are enjoying this video, be sure to thumbs up it for me, sub to the YouTube channel. Hopefully we'll be able to do more dino stuff. You know, I'm sure at some point I'll get sick of Dark Magician when the new support comes out, and we'll want to switch it up. And dinos are always, I mean, I gotta admit, dinos are my second favorite deck. So I love this deck. Definitely, if you enjoy the dino content, sub to my YouTube channel. So here we're going up against everyone's least favorite archetype, everyone's least favorite thing that Konami has brought into existence is just Cyberse. Cyberse is just so annoying to deal with. You know, there's so many different forms of support for the archetype. It's really annoying, or the type, I should say. So they're gonna set up a bunch of random disruptions here with Firewall, Singularity, and you're gonna see here I actually goof because I'm just, I was streaming during this and I didn't read some of these cards, like this guy. I didn't exactly read all his effects, but that's okay. You're gonna see, you know, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna summon out, we're gonna try to bait our opponent here because we wanna be able to do our Ovi Miss combo. We're gonna grab Drill Beam, okay? Summon Ovi. Misk was activated previously. So now activate Misk, Misk resolves. Thankfully, pop the baby summon Petite, summon out Link Karibo, okay? We're gonna pop the Petite Pterodon. I don't wanna go into Sprite Elf because I'm worried that they're gonna be able to, you know, I don't wanna go into it prematurely because I'm worried they're gonna be able to negate it or spin it back. So summon back this Petite Pterodon, pop it, summon out the Frost, Petite Pterodon's gonna summon out Misk. Now that I have a normal monster on the field, I activate Drill Beam. And I can't target any of their monsters because of Transcode protects this guy, and then this guy protects level 4 or higher, Link 4 or higher monsters. So basically, everybody's protected, you know? So, what are you gonna do? Reading, am I right? So I banished my card, you know, I'm just trying to give him a chance. Trying to give my opponent a chance. I'm a nice guy. I'm a charitable guy. What can I say? Okay. Summon out UCT. Attack, attack, attack. I kind of, you know, biffed here on the damage and not reading that there's also an attack protection. I'm really struggled here. But luckily, my opponent does me a favor. Gives me an opportunity to negate and destroy their Firewall Dragon and then be able to swing for game. So this deck, man, going second, not just with the Misk protection, but the hand traps and the Drill Beam and the board breakers with Pank. It's a good deck. Let me show you guys my iteration really quickly. All right, Habibis, this is my deck list. Once again, big shout out to Sun Apollo. Very impressive that they reached the top 16 with this deck. I don't think a Dino deck has made it to the top 16 since we did it, and that was almost a year ago. So very impressive in this meta. And from my testing, which I did a lot on stream, you guys just saw a small piece of it. And if you guys want to see all of the duels that I had on stream with us, where we really did pretty dang well, if I do say so myself, you gotta follow me on twitch.tv/KingMatty. You're gonna see a lot of live duels, a lot of commentary, and I love interacting with you guys, so be sure to drop a follow. But from my testing of this deck, it does a really good job. I did say that I cut Megalo to 2 or something, but I actually meant I cut the Meteor and the Astero to 2. I felt like having the extra deck flexibility was more important than having the third board wipe. However, it did come up one time where I wish I did have it, but that was just one time out of like 100 duels. I really tried to use this deck extensively before I showcased it for you guys. So the Magalo combo, we talked about it, you guys saw it. Really amazing what this deck could do going second. Has a lot of potential. I like the extra deck flexibility. I like the amount of hand traps we could play for a Dino deck. So definitely something that I think you guys should try. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are trying this. If I got any Primite Dino enthusiasts out there, please let me know how it goes. Hopefully you guys have similar experience to me, because my experience was really good. Big shout out to Son Apollo for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video, thumbs up it for me. If you got Dino DNA, sub to my YouTube channel. Until next time, Habibis, take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.